Have you ever harvested so much produce at your allotment that you suddenly go, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do with all of this? I don't want it to go off. I've put so much effort into growing it. So you need to sort it out and preserve it in some way. So let's look at a number of different easy and quick ways to store this harvest. I certainly need some help here, don't I? Look at all those cabbages. So we started off with the cabbages at the allotment here, and you can see beautiful large cabbages. But unfortunately, if I leave them in the ground, the bugs are going to get to them. We're going to get slug infestations as soon as it starts to rain again, and then the actual quality of the cabbages is going to go down, and I'm not going to be able to store them at all. So I happen to have to pick all of them at once, which I don't normally do. So I've stripped off the outer leaves and I'm rolling them into, you know, those big bags that you get, often get them through the door for charity and that sort of thing. I'm just using them because they're large and they're free. So rolling them in and then tying them up with a bit of twine. Obviously if you've got those twisty things, you can use those as well. And when one's in, we'll get the next one in and tie that up too. So it's almost like a chain of cabbages, and I think with this size bag I can get about 3 cabbages in there. And what we're trying to do is exclude extra oxygen and the drying effects that our modern refrigerators give us. And they'll store in there for weeks now, although I will keep an eye on them, all for the work of 10 minutes, which I think is great. Right, we've now got some blackberries, not loads, but a couple of tubs, so this shouldn't take us very long at all. And all I'm going to do is get them rinsed off. This will just get rid of any dust or little bits and bobs that are in between them. So I'm going to put the lid on, give it a shake, and then get the water tipped out. Because the idea is we're going to freeze them, and I don't want all the dust and that going in. I want it frozen and ready to use when I get them out later. Now I'm freezing them on baking parchment so they don't stick to the container, and I'm also, I suppose it's a type of flash freezing where you freeze them in one layer, and here you get the chance to go through them as well and just pick out any last little bits. This means that when they come out of the freezer, I can jiggle them about a bit like that, and they're all separate, and I can put them in a big bag, and then I can get them out the amount I need when I want to use them, rather than having a big block in the freezer. And that just took us about 5 minutes, so that's that dealt with. Fantastic. So next is the potatoes. I've got quite a lot of potatoes, but I'm just going to show you one of the bags that I harvested rather than the whole bucket as well. But I'm tipping them out into crates. Now the idea here is that we're going to harden off the skins slightly, and I'm going to select out some of the smaller potatoes, because it's the smaller potatoes that are not going to store as well as the larger potatoes. So if I take these out and store them separately, I can get them eaten up first. So I'm just making sure that all the trays are full of potatoes. I don't want them too thick though, because we want them to dry out and harden off. That's a nice, good one. And they will just stay in these crates for a few days, up to about a week, and then we can do the last process. Now these are in the garage, so they're in the dark and they're in the cool, and they will sit there in these trays until they're ready. And that's quite a nice haul there. And if I get these processed, then the next ones that I harvest, I can use the same trays over again. I also, when I emptied the bucket, found that I got some soil that had fell off the potatoes. And I know it sounds a bit funny, but I will take that back to the allotment. Okay, so I've got paper bags here. This one happens to be from flour, but you can get them from flour, you can get them from animal feed, and you can also ask your local greengrocer if they've got any, because they weigh out the potatoes to sell to people and they're left with the bags as waste. So sometimes they'll save you one or two. And I think that's quite a good haul of potatoes, and they're now stored away. Oh, there's the little ones. Oh yeah, and I found some green ones. So what I'm going to do with these is, I'm not going to eat these. I'm going to put them in a bag, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge, and they'll be hopefully good enough for next year's seed potatoes. So I'll just start selecting and saving those. I do tend to buy some seed potatoes as well, but that helps. Oh, and another thing, put your label in, and then you know which sort it was and don't get mixed up while you're eating them throughout the rest of the year. I think that's quite a big sack of potatoes there. In a nice cupboard, in the dark, and when they're all in together, I also put a towel over them. So they're dry, dark, and pretty clean. So now we're on to these tomatoes. Now these are Romas, so I want to save these up until I've got enough to make a sauce. You'll also notice some of these have got, well, some of them, all of these, have got blossom end rot. Now you can make your own mind up about this. Some people go, oh, there's no way on earth I am eating anything with that on. But what I'm going to show you here is what I personally do, and as I say, the rest is up to you, is once I've got them rinsed off and clean, because I'm going to freeze them, I'm going to chop off the bad bits. Now I don't know how deep it goes, so I'll do it a slice at a time. Clearly that goes a little bit further, so I'll slice a little bit more off. And there we go, we're back to regular tomato. And I would have chucked that, so for me, that's worth saving. So I just need to get them all done like that, get back to the good tomato, and we'll have a reasonable amount to freeze, whereas I wouldn't have had anything. And then I can just wait for the next lot, and hopefully my watering is more consistent and we won't get any more with blossom end rot. It's interesting though, because some of the ones that I've got in the freezer are fine. I've got the pointy end like the Roma normally have. Now when they're all done, there we go, see, quite a few from Morgan. And here's the frozen ones that I'd done previously, the regular Roma shape. And that took me about 5 minutes just to get them sorted out, bung them in the bag with everything else and let them freeze. Now the eating tomatoes, I'll just store in a bowl and we'll eat them up. Or if I've got too many, we'll roast them. Okay, so we're on to the beans then. Some of these beans are a little bit large for the process I'm going to do now, so I'm just taking a few of those out into a pot. Now what I like to do with most of my beans is freeze them for during the winter, because I do have a bag in the fridge that we eat sort of week by week. And a lot of people go, oh, you've got to top and tail them, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that. I tend to snap the top off, like that. Don't bother with a knife. I don't bother with a knife for the next bit either. Snap them into 2, 3 or 4, depending on the size of the bean. And if I can't snap it, it's probably a bit tough for me, so I wouldn't have used it anyway. So just get them all snapped up, and all I do is sit in front of the telly, put something interesting on to watch, and get them all snapped up. So again, we're going to flash freeze these, but first of all we need to try and denature some of the enzymes that are in the beans that's going to make them degrade. Now if you've only got a few and you're going to eat them within less than 6 months, you might not need to do this, but I want them to last longer than that. So I'm going to get all my snapped beans into a pot, cover them in boiling water. Using the catheters just tends to make it quicker, that's why I've done it this way, because after all we're looking for quick ways. And then bring it up to the boil and just cook for no more than 2 minutes. And you'll see here that some of the purple beans have changed colour. So we're not trying to fully cook them, we're just trying to denature those things that are going to make them degrade in the freezer. So now I'm draining them. But the idea is we need to get them to stop cooking as quick as possible. And that's what I need this iced water for. So they go, you can see them steaming. Going from this very hot time to getting them nice and cooled down, and that will stop them from cooking. So that ice is going to bring that temperature down very quickly. I mean, you can see I can touch everything, so it's cooled down already. So here they are, drained again. So now they're cold, and I'm just going to spread them out. I don't want them too thick, otherwise they'll stick too much together. But there we go. That's I'd say that's probably about half my haul. I did freeze another set. So there they're going in the top of the freezer. Get them back out when they're flash frozen, and then I'm going to get them into the freezer bags, which I'm going to store them in. I do reuse these most years, so there you go. Now you see there's a block there, but it's not too bad, so we'll give it a bit of a tap. And now we've got individual beans, and I don't have to freeze them in portions then. I can just get out handfuls of whatever I want. So in less than 60 minutes, and most of that in front of the telly, we've sorted these beans out. Try and get as much air out as possible. So seal them up, then fold it over, and then finish sealing. That does the trick there. If you want them, put them straight into boiling water, but they will take less time than you normally would cook them for. So that's 5 crops done in less than an hour and 40 minutes. I mean, I think that's brilliant. All that stuff ready for us to eat over the coming months and the winter. Thanks for watching. Bye!